This is Jason with Chicago News, and we're really excited this weekend. You can see by this grill that we've got a Volvo, but which Volvo is this? It's an all-new XC40. It's a new offering from Volvo, and we're super excited to check it out. First off, let's talk about the design of this thing, because it really is a great-looking CUV. And these crossovers can all start to look the same. This one definitely is not the case. First thing you notice when you walk up to it is the Swedish flag. They've moved it from a little tag on the seat to being outside the vehicle. I'm sure you could remove it if you don't like it, but we think it's really cool. What Volvo's managed to do with this is actually create a really modern, really unique, and funky design without just doing it for the sake of being funky. A lot of smaller crossovers and hybrids look modern, but they look funky. They don't look like they're well designed. This classic Swedish design, a really funky shape, but it draws your attention. Now, I normally have complaints when there's a C or a D pillar on a car that's kind of got a funky design to it. I absolutely love this though, because what you've got here is this black roof. You've got this coming down right here. It actually makes the car look a little bit lower than it is. You still get the height that you want out of a crossover, but you doesn't look as tall. And really, this is a striking design line, having this horizontal line here. Really draws the eye in. It's a really striking design element. When you combine it with this curved taillight that comes all the way up the C-pillar, the rear of this looks just as good as the front. Okay, we've definitely determined that this is beautiful on the outside. Really striking lines, great Volvo identity. But what's really exciting about the new line of Volvos is the interior. So let's hop in and see if this XC40 continues that trend. So now that we're inside this all-new XC40, it's really interesting to see how Volvo has taken their new elevated design and applied it to a more affordable vehicle. You don't really lose the luxury, but you get this at a price point that you can stomach. Especially in this R-Line example, they've traded out some of the wood and some of those richer materials for a sportier feeling material. There's this really interesting combination rubberized and metal inlay, which is in a really cool pattern. And our test vehicle has the available two-tone interior with essentially bright orange carpets and inserts on the door card. It looks really cool, but when I first opened the door to this, I'm like, I love this. This is the coolest interior. After living with it for a little while, you find that this orange gets dirty really quickly. And I just wonder if putting black floor mats down would help that a little bit. It really is just the floor mat. After even just a day of use, of just regular use, forget a rainy day or something like that, just a regular use, you see dirt immediately on it. This XC40 comes with the T5 version of Volvo engine. This makes 248 horsepower, and when you first get in it, because this is a smaller, lighter vehicle, it doesn't really feel like a T5. This feels just as quick as some of the bigger vehicles with the T6 engine. So you really don't lose much. What you do gain, however, is fuel efficiency. Just like the other cars in Volvo's lineup, you get several different drive modes to choose from. You've got Eco, Comfort. Comfort is sort of your everyday. It softens everything. It's got the most boost on the power steering. And then you also have this off-road mode, which in this vehicle, it doesn't have the leveling air suspension. So that really just changes how some of the steering and the transmission works. And then you've also got dynamic. The other thing that these different modes change is the all-wheel drive system. So in the off-road mode, that would be the mode you'd want to use in the winter. Let's say you get stuck in your driveway. Obviously, under 25 miles an hour, you can engage that off-road mode, and it's going to lock the differentials to get you out of a situation. Clicking over to the dynamic mode gives you a little bit more revs in each gear, and it holds a lower gear, downshifts quicker, it sharpens all the feelings, it tightens the steering up a little bit. It's kind of the performance mode, and this is the R-Line trim package, which is the sportier trim package as well. You get larger wheels, better suspension. And one of the biggest things, we obviously have talked at length about how much we love Volvo's new products, but they definitely are not cheap. One of the great things about this XC40 is you get a lot of the content that makes the new Volvos great, but you get it at an affordable price. The standard model of this starts at around $34,000, $35,000. The R-Line, this version that we're driving, starts at just under $38,000. Our test vehicle here, with all the options that it has, is about $45,000. I have to to say when I first hopped in this, I was a little disappointed to see Harman Kardon on the speaker grille here. One of the greatest things about the new Volvo lineup are the Bowers & Wilkins high-end audio system. But going with the Harman Kardon allowed them to save a little bit on the budget here, and it actually is a fantastic sounding system. You know, much like Volvo worked with Bowers & Wilkins, I would imagine they worked with Harman Kardon, and it shows. It allows you to get a high-end audio system without spending the amount of money that it would take for the B&W. One of the options that ticks the price up a little bit on our test car is the Pilot Assist. And again, this is a fantastic system. It gives you all the information you need right here. You can set the speed. It holds the lane for you. Keeps your distance from the car ahead, automatic braking. This really has a full suite of safety features, nearly autonomous driving. For a vehicle that has an MSRP of $45,000, and really is as nice overall as this is, and it gives you these features. You can watch this thing follow the curve. It'll warn you after a few seconds of inattention, but you know, the safety that you get from that monitor that's watching you as you go is really important. Obviously, you get blind spot monitors, forward collision alert, forward emergency braking, all of those things that really these days are becoming more and more standard, but are very refined in this Volvo. What Volvo's created here in the style that we talked about earlier is something that's modern, it's unique, it's eye-catching. You know, for just your everyday around town crossover, we're getting a lot of looks driving this around. People want to know what it is. You know, for a car that's not garish looking, it's pretty interesting to see that kind of reaction. The kind of attention we're getting in this car, we only really see when we're driving, you know, $100,000 plus vehicles. So to get something that you can get for around 40 grand and get that kind of attention is pretty amazing. You're not going to get that with a Toyota or with a Mazda or with any of its competitors. And really, this is just a few dollars more than some of those very, very pedestrian competitors. It really makes this Volvo something to consider if you're shopping in that crossover market. Once again, as we've talked about before, we've got this fantastic Volvo infotainment system. I really personally feel this is one of the best systems that you can get. It really gives you a very clean interface. It gives you lots of information. You can toggle between pages just like you might do on a device. Your HVAC is all right here. Heated seats are all right here. Everything is available right with a touch or a swipe without taking too much of your attention away from driving. Again, a full LCD instrument cluster, and when you have navigation going, you can actually see the navigation map will show up. We'll go ahead and set a destination here.
The route is being calculated.
You'll actually see the route pop up. It makes the gauges smaller, and it actually gives you the map right here in the center. So again, more features to help you. This doesn't have a heads-up display, but having the nav right there helps keep your attention forward instead of looking at the center. One annoyance we did find was with actually the auto start stop feature and the auto hold feature, which I'm a big fan of the auto hold. I don't think the car should go unless you give it some input with the throttle. The auto start stop is obviously to save gas, shuts the engine off when you're stopped at lights. What we found though is it takes a lot of pedal pressure and it takes a lot of time to kick that over. You know, you'd want it to be a little bit more instantaneous. It's also a little bit noisy. So using both of those features, which I really like, it was kind of aggravating. You know, as quick as this powertrain makes this Volvo, you know, it still just has a little bit of that buzzy four-cylinder sound to it. You do get a nice little pop with each shift. You get a little bit of overrun there, which, especially in dynamic mode, it kind of bumps that up a little bit. It gives definitely a sportier feel. But overall, they're just missing a little bit of that feel that you would get from a V6 or some other type of powertrain. With the T5 powertrain, you get 23 city, 31 highway, which may not sound the best, but then consider this. This weighs 3,700 pounds, which is pretty lightweight for this type of vehicle, and it can almost towing capacity of 3,500 pounds. So really a lot of muscle behind this small crossover. While some of the finishes in the interior don't quite stand up to the more expensive Volvos in the lineup, One thing that's just as good in here are these seats. They're incredibly supportive, very comfortable. They're made with a really cool micro suede material. They've got contrasting stitching. Again, it's just an elevated design compared to a lot of its competitors. Okay, so clearly it's no longer winter here, but it feels like it transitioned right into summer. And you know, it reminds you that it's either too cold or too warm. You're either not making enough, or the paycheck didn't come in on time, or there's something always to complain about. We really don't have anything to complain about. Volvo nailed this XC40. It combines great design, value, efficiency, strength, and of course, Volvo's tenet of safety and technology built in all the way through. You know, among its competitors in the small SUV or crossover class, nothing can touch this.